All right, welcome back to Morning Live on SABC 2 and SABC News Channel 404. Now, as we wrap up International Women's Month, would like to celebrate a woman who, although not a public figure, but has played a huge role in the state of finances of the city of Johannesburg. After more than 10 years rather more than 2 decades in the government sphere and more than 10 years within the city of Johannesburg, Khomotso Letsatsi has resigned as the group treasurer of the city, leaving behind what both fans and fools alike describe as one of the best-run treasuries with a consistently positive credit rating here in South Africa. Khomotso Letsatsi joins us this morning here in our studios. Khomotso, good morning and welcome to Morning Live.
Good morning to you too.
Thank you so much for coming through. Just before we look at what you did, tell us a little bit as to who Khomotso Letsatsi is.
Jeez, where do I start?
Where do you start?
I'm a wife, married to a man who gave me the Letsatsi surname.
Okay.
I'm a mom of 3 girls. And I think I'm a hardworking African woman that represented women very well in leadership positions.
And the woman who is, practically able to break the ceiling, or the class ceiling rather, to take up this position at the city of Johannesburg.
Yes, I think that I was at the right time, at the right place, at the right place, at the right time. I took over in the city of Johannesburg at a very difficult time in our country. I often say to people, I think I'm one of the luckiest people that in my lifetime I've experienced 2 recessions. Of course, the first one I just graduated. I remember walking down Diagonal Street where the JSC used to be.
Yeah.
And I had some money to invest. And I walked into one of the dealing room. I think it was ABN AMRO. And I found the room full of so many men and everybody was shouting. And I got to speak to one of the gentlemen to say, I'm interested in investing in shares. I've got money. And he looked at me and said, ma'am, go take your money and put it under your mattress. Because of what was happening at the time. Yeah. Then fast forward almost 10 years later, joined the city. We're going through another recession as a country. And it was actually a very difficult space, I think, for local government or cities, given that at that time we were rolling out some of the huge infrastructure programs related to 2010. At the same time, when our economy was taking a serious beating, our customers could not pay their bills and services. And yet we needed a lot of cash. So it was double whammy. I think just maneuvering the space actually prepared me for greater things in life.
So you've seen it all.
I've seen it all.
Yeah, you even got the T-shirt for that. But then on a serious note now, Khomotso, you've been credited with running a well-oiled and credible treasury that got to raise so much funds for the city. What made the city of Johannesburg and Joburg the best-run treasury ever?
Look, I think the geographic location makes a huge difference in the sense that, Johannesburg is headquarters most of the financial institutions. Yeah. So you've got your JSC, most of the biggest asset managers are here, the banks. So it's easier to recruit from that industry in the city of Johannesburg. So that was a plus. Most of my team members in Treasury, they've worked at banks, they've worked in asset management industry. So the skill is there and the depth is there in terms of understanding financial markets. The
issue of skills, I was about to come to that question because we constantly told that South Africa lacks specific skills, and obviously you're dispelling that myth, like you mentioned that the team that you were working with had that kind of background. What's your take, Khomotso, on the skills and the ability that South Africa has?
Look, I think as a country we're faced with a number of structural problems, and one of those is that I believe that we are sitting on a ticking time bomb because 45% of the youth in Johannesburg are unemployed. Yeah. And if we don't address it, I think as a country we're going to have problems. And it's quite clear that there's a skill mismatch. So it is therefore important that the cooperation between the private sector and institutions of higher learning in making sure that the graduates that are produced will then be relevant for the demand in the labor market. So there is no point if we continue to produce skills that cannot be used and we just add to the number in terms of unemployment. And maybe just to touch on that, because those are some of the issues that we've been grappling with in the city. In the past 10 years that I've been in there, I think the former Mayor Pakstau was very passionate about it, and some of the programs that he basically introduced was precisely to resolve some of the socio-economic challenges that we are faced with in the country, like Josie at Work, which basically was changing the service delivery model in the city, but using the youth in communities to actually deliver services to them. So those were some of the policy instruments really that were starting to actually bear fruit and basically taking our youth out of the streets.
All right. So a lot of people are saying that you're leaving because of the change of administration now that the DA has taken over. Is it true?
Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. I've always said that in my 10th year, I would actually look to go do other things and basically hand over to the next person.
So where are you going now? Anything on the cards now?
There's actually a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes I actually think and just wonder if I would have time to do everything else that I've been thinking about for a while. I'm actually looking at a number of opportunities at this point in time. I don't have the liberty to actually say it until we finalize the negotiations, but definitely in due course, I will communicate to all my stakeholders. I think it's a question that I get asked a lot of time. But, just to give you an insight in terms of some of the things that I'll be doing, I am looking to start a mentoring program in the treasury field. I would love to see a lot of women in that space.
All right.
There's definitely a shortage in that regard.
All right. No, I'm afraid we'll leave it at that, but everything of the best with your future endeavors.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much indeed. There you have it. That's the outgoing group treasurer of the City of Johannesburg, Khomotso Letsatsi, talking to us about her journey throughout in the past 10 years with the City of Johannesburg. Let's get you a weather update. TAT is standing by, and he is so staring at me. Hi, Paul.